Taiwan. Very good to be home.
I love my ecosystem here. I mean, there are so many companies here, and some of my favorite ecosystem partners. So many. The world's best supply chain ecosystem. Unbelievable.
欢迎 NVIDIA 创办人暨执行长黄仁勋先生。
Welcome to the stage, NVIDIA founder and CEO, Jensen Huang.
大家好 Welcome to GTC Taiwan. So great to see all of you. Very good to be home. I brought my parents home. Where are my parents? Everybody give a round of applause to my mom and dad. And a round of applause for our pre-game show superstars, ladies and gentlemen. Look how adorable they are. The superstars of Taiwan. There are so many of you here today. We are broadcasting this right now to 70 other watch parties across Taiwan. 70 different conferences are going at the same time. Everybody is watching this keynote. We have so much to tell you, and I have so many partners to thank. It is incredible how large our ecosystem in Taiwan has become. Most of the time, when people think about the ecosystem, there's so many people to thank. I love my ecosystem here. I mean, there are so many companies here, and some of my favorite ecosystem partners. So many. Taiwan's rich ecosystem, the richest ecosystem, the world's best supply chain ecosystem. Unbelievable. Well, thank you all for being here. And this year, our businesses together are growing incredibly. In fact, somebody told me last night that the annual GDP of Taiwan is going to grow almost 10%. Unbelievable. Well, we have a lot to talk about. Let's get going. 2 years ago, when I was here, I started to talk to you about how AI has moved from generative AI and the other waves of AIs that are coming. The next wave of AI was agentic AI. And today, we can say that agentic AI has arrived, that useful AI has arrived. Now, what does this mean? This is GitHub. This is, of course, one of the first applications of agentic AI is software coding, one of the most valuable professions. Incredibly large ecosystem, 30 million, 40 million professional software developers, probably another couple of hundred who are students and enthusiasts and so on and so forth. But say 30, 40 million software developers in the world code for a living. And this represents most of them. This is GitHub. The pull request is when they download software, they modify it, and commit is when they push it back up. Okay? And so if you could look at this, in 2023, the number of commits was 300 million. 2024, 400 million. 2025, 500 million commits. In the first few months of 2026, it has nearly tripled. Now, what does that mean? 30 million software developers representing about $3 trillion worth of GDP, producing that's what they're paid, $3 trillion worth of salaries per year, which is generating economic growth for the rest of the industries. Say $100 trillion of the world's industries is generated by $3 billion worth of salary. That $3 trillion worth of salary is now producing nearly 3 times as much output. It's effectively a $9 trillion productivity from $3 trillion of salaries. Does that make any sense? The difference is absolutely extraordinary. This is the potential. This is the promise of AI. The number of engineers, software engineers, is actually increasing. People talk about AI reducing jobs. Complete nonsense. It's causing more software engineers to be hired, and the reason for that is very simple. If you can hire a software engineer and you could generate $9 trillion worth of productive work, why wouldn't you want to hire more software engineers? If that line was flat, then obviously people will hire fewer software engineers. But because the output is so incredible, people want to hire more software engineers. This is going to show up in our economy somehow soon. And so the first thing is useful AI has arrived. Now, what does that mean from the industry's perspective? From the industry's perspective, that means that tokens are now in extraordinary demand. Because if you could do this, you're going to want to produce more of it. And because tokens are now profitable units, tokens are now profitable units of revenues. Because it is now profitable, the AI companies want to build a lot more tokens, generate a lot more tokens, build more AI factories, which is the reason why compute demand here in Taiwan has skyrocketed. It is precisely the reason why all of you are so busy and your businesses are doing so well. In fact, that looks like some of your stock price. The compute pattern has changed. Everything has changed. So the first idea is that useful AI has arrived. AI is now a profit generator. AI is now a GDP generator. Behind it is a whole new kind of computing pattern. Not just a large language model, but an agent. Today, almost everything we're going to talk about is going to be based on this. So let me take a quick moment and show you what I'm talking about. This is an agent. It's an agent application. In the old days, this would be application, this would be code, and this would be operating system. Application, code running inside an application, inside an operating system. Today, it is agent, which consists of a large language model, or many, sitting inside a harness, and that harness helps it, orchestrates it to do productive work. This is the input. When that input comes, it has to understand, observe, reason, act, use tools. That tool could be a spreadsheet, web browser, a data processing engine, database engine, for example. This is orchestrated, this harness orchestrates this routing of information every single time it touches either processing the context, understanding what is happening, reasoning about what to do, coming up with a plan that it acts on. That orchestration path is orchestrated by some software. And so this is fundamentally an agent. It deals with short-term memory, called working memory, long-term memory, just like we do, we have long-term memory. And so the memory management system is incredibly important. This entire system is called an agent. The large language model is used to do the thinking, and the harness connects everything together, just like an operating system, okay? And so this is the new computing model, and this is what an agent. It could do incredible things. This is the big breakthrough. the simultaneous the convergence of large language models that are now able to do a really good job thinking, reasoning, planning, using tools, and the fact that we have now these harnesses that manages memory, the orchestration, uses tools, we can now do amazing things. Let me give you some example. This is a prompt. This is the prompt. This is the code that is generated, and this comes out. This is the input. This is the input, and that's the output. What do you guys think? It's pretty amazing, right? We use Claude Code here, but Codex does an incredible job as well. Here's another example. This is the input. Create a GIF, NVIDIA green dots on black scatter, form Taiwan 101 building, morph to GTC Taipei 2026, morph to NVIDIA I logo, then scatter and repeat, right? So you saw that. That was the prompt. Here's the next one. I lost my remote control battery clip. It looks like this. Create a CAD file. It uses a tool. Create a CAD file, ready for 3D printing to create a new one. Make sense? This is now the new computing pattern. Whereas we used to launch an application, click and type, we now replace that with explaining to the AI what we want, our intent, and the AI generates the code or uses tools and produce the necessary output. This is how computers are going to work in the future. This is agentic AI. For 2 years, we've been building towards this, and now it has arrived. Now, one of the big breakthroughs, of course, is tool use. A lot of people have said, you know, Jensen, AI is coming, agentic AI is coming, therefore all of the software companies are going to go out of business. I said it's exactly the opposite. Because there are going to be so many agents, the world is no longer limited by the number of people. Therefore, those agents are going to use more tools than ever. This is actually an incredible time to be a software company. But the software has to be presented to the agent in a way that the agent can use it. This is a big breakthrough. And in fact, what we have done, as you know, what NVIDIA's treasure is all of our CUDA libraries. I call them CUDA-X libraries. This is NVIDIA's treasure. Today, we're able to now present these CUDA-X libraries to agents who can use it much more effectively than even humans. And so this is a wonderful time for CUDA-X libraries. Let's take a look.
20 years ago, we built CUDA, a single architecture for accelerated computing. We reinvented computing. 1,000 CUDA-X libraries help developers make breakthroughs in every field of science and engineering. CUDA-X libraries are tools for agents. cuLitho for computational lithography. cuOpt for decision optimization. cuDSS for direct sparse solvers. AIQ for deep research across structured and unstructured documents. Ariel for AI RAN. Warp for differentiable physics. Parabricks for genomics. At their foundation are algorithms, and they are beautiful.
A round of applause for math. Math is beautiful. The computing pattern of software is going to change. In fact, let's come back to this. This is the agent. It is the ultimate disaggregated and distributed computing model. So many different computers are going to be activated in order to process this agent. The agent consists of model, harness, tools and skills, and a runtime. All of that is running at different places in a data center. You can think of the model as the brain, the harness as the body, the tools that it uses, working in a runtime, think of it as a workshop. So this is a person, a worker, working with tools in a workshop. Of course, this is being done at extraordinarily large scales. And each one of those steps are running in a different part of the computer. And you could see the large language model is thinking, context processing, observing, understanding the environment, reasoning, coming up with a plan, and acting on the plan. Every single time that happens, an entire rack of Grace Blackwell NVLink 72 is activated. It's thinking with the large language model. Whenever it uses a tool, a CPU is used. That tool could be a C compiler. It could be Python. It could be JavaScript. Or it could be accelerated computing. Today's agents are relatively simple users of tools. Tomorrow, they're going to be very sophisticated users of tools, which is the reason why the CUDA-X libraries that I showed you are going to be incredibly popular with agents. They solve some of the most important problems the world knows. And all of our CUDA-X libraries are now going to come with skills that the AI could learn how to use. So the CUDA-X library, some skills, basically a manual, the AI reads it and go, aha, that's how you use it. The ability to use these libraries by agents are going to be incredible. And so the tools run on CPUs and GPUs and large language models. The security harness runs on CPUs and a security processor called a DPU, NVIDIA's Bluefield. The orchestration of all this runs on a CPU. This is the entire harness, and the CPU is orchestrating all of the work. One of the hardest parts is memory. You could just imagine. The working memory is called KV caching. What to remember, compaction, not just compression, but how to retrieve. Do you retrieve structured data? Do you retrieve unstructured data? What is the ontology, the relationship of all of these different data to itself? That entire processing is incredibly complicated. The memory system of AIs is going to cause the storage system to be completely revolutionized. As you could see, every aspect of this computing model, this computing pattern, this new application called an agent, is fundamentally different than the way that applications used to run. A whole bunch of software sitting inside a binary, sitting inside an operating system. This is the reason this disaggregated, this distributed, this heterogeneous computing problem is precisely the reason we built our next generation.
所以我们看到黄仁勋来到台湾之后，他讲得非常白，说：“以后我要投资台湾，我大力投资台湾，而且我投资台湾，我要以10年，我一投资我可能就要10年为限。10年为限，刚刚讲的，我现在投资1000亿，一年1000亿哦。是，我现在不是1年1000亿，接下来没多久，我要给你投资到1年1500亿。”
必须要讲哈，宝杰哥，你觉得它这里面真正的意义在哪里？一来，它告诉你未来的市场到底有多大。目前为止，它不只是讲这个，它还讲说未来目前为止，所谓的 AI 应该全台湾大家都要用，年轻人都要用。未来它是以10倍增长，甚至不排除100倍。这就是为什么他一定要大力来投资台湾，从原先1000亿美元到现在1500亿，而且更重要的，我觉得这一次所有的观众朋友一定要留意它里面这一次它的 keynote 演讲的主题。来，这一次他讲的是什么？是 GTC Taipei。 这代表什么意思？我常常看到 GTC 不会就是它的 GPU 每一年的那个技术大会，每一年都举办，有什么了不起？重点在于台北，你知道吗？这一次宝杰哥这里面真正非常重要的是什么？
他今年在台北，
对，他往年他只有在San Jose，只有在加州，他只有在今年他突然增加一个在华盛顿 GTC 华盛顿，也就是美国西岸是他的老巢，但是现在他移师到美东。这一次最重要的是他把全世界告诉全世界，他以后台北就是他的一个重要据点。因
为他每次要发表什么新的东西，他要去做他这个所谓的辉达的这个展望的时候，都是在他的 GTC 的大会里面所做展示的。包括我要做机器人也好了，或者我这个 Blackwell 的这边也好了 ，Ruby 的也好了，都在这个地方出来。结果以前都是在他自己的这个所谓的San Jose，
对，
这一次是来台湾。发表他辉达的未来，
你知道吗？这个真正的重点在于哪里？真正在于以前我们只是收订单，如果我们现在的台北的大厂，我们基本上台湾的就是你要什么我给你订单嘛，你给我订单我就做嘛哈。以后不是这样的关系哦，以后它的一个关系是一个共同开发。是一个生态系，所以他这次把这个事情讲得很清楚，他增加这500亿，每一年他增加在哪里？但是你知道这里面真正的重点在啥？就包括说他以前你只是给订单，他未来带客户、带国际的客户，他的客户过来给你，这个东西就差别很大。目前为止我们都知道哈，在 AI 的伺服器里面2个重大的核心，一个叫做 GPU 它的晶片，绘图晶片的那个部分嘛，另外一部分叫做 HBM。你知道他这次带了什么样重大的客户？就是南韩的 SK 海力士。这一次他的崔泰元为什么来参加我们台北电脑展？来跟大家 say hello 啊！来跟大家未来我们是从上游的晶圆代工、先进封装，到未来我们要开发进一步的 HBM， 到时候会来到台湾。所以这目前为止，台湾不只是它的军火库哦，未来就是它整个它辉达重要的生态系。所以未来辉积大军。就会是台股的主轴，不再只是台积电啊、联发科，是辉积大军。那我们怎么去证明这件事情？来，我们之前我们都知道，其实SK 海力士跟台积电跟辉达，他们是一个所谓的 AI 铁三角的联盟。其实从几年前，大家就觉得很奇怪，那个 SK 海力士的崔泰元怎么晓得要跑来台湾找台积电？怎么晓得要来找 CC 位呢？原来中间最重要的那个
黄仁勋
康帅就是黄仁勋，所以你看到这一次，当时。你可以看到照片有没有？当时他只是默默的带到台积电后来被记者登到了嘛，他就干脆就公布吧。公布后来才知道，原来现在 HBM 里面最核心的 HBM4，跟 HBM4E 全部通通都我们台积电帮他合作的，所以你就知道说这个 AI 铁三角，它等于带了国际的客户带到这里来。但是你知道，真正我们只能说这只是带客户，谁来接他的订单？这就是前几天为什么 CC 位他要带他的接班梯队7大将，为什么要带出来见主要的原因哦，各位观众朋友，这个很重要。除了跟黄仁勋秀，这就是未来我的接班人这7位，特别是包括秦工啊，包括这个米玉姐。但是你知道秦工他在做什么？他是全球除了台湾之外，美国、欧洲、日本以后全部 hold 在他的手里哦，他的良率啊。它的量产全部放在这个秦工这个人的身上，不是我们台湾台积电当然 CC 位嘛，国际的全部都扣在这个秦工身上。所以未来黄仁勋你要的晶片，还有包括这个崔泰元你要的东西，我可以在全球调度给你，是这个道理而且还目前还包括谁？里面的米玉杰，你知道米玉杰就是研发大将。中国、日本，你一大堆人想要来偷，就在他这个米玉姐现在身上。所以你要开发新的 HBM， 或者你要开发新的东西，在这个米玉姐身上。所以这就是为什么在前几天以前你都没听到 CC 位找一些人资长来跟他吃饭。为什么这次他带出的是7大将？因为接下来黄仁勋他要在台湾建他的巢，他要把全世界的国际的大单，他的客户直接带来台湾。那如果在这里面整体的运作，难怪他会讲说，未来台湾到时候它的增加绝对是10年跟10倍。以上在增加，但是最里面还有一个真正的重点，我觉得现在我们看到的是黄仁勋把他的总部搬来台北，对不对？未来你很有机会，这是他女儿讲的哦。未来有没有机会？其实黄仁勋会在台北有个家，
为什么？
不是只有总部，还有在家。宝杰哥，你可能有没有高龄的父母？他的父母你看多少岁了？
90几岁了。
是，你觉得黄仁勋一个在全世界发扬光大的人， 他以前都是每一年回来台北看他的爸爸妈妈。我住的地方，他爸爸妈妈还有他儿子常来我们的运动中心，在那边健身房。真的，黄胜斌呐，他在台北已经混了10年了，都在搞夜店。那现在他已经乖乖的回到他爸爸的那个地方，准备做机器人了。所以我只能说，黄仁勋到这个阶段，全世界都闻名。AI 的教父不止帮你单滴单，很可能他把他的心思全部都带回来台北，因为韩国人已经在质疑了。奇怪了，你前一段时间你来包我们那个韩国的记忆体，你已经包了一大堆嘞，你什么时候来投资过韩国？
没有吗？
没有。他只来投资台湾，所以我们只能告诉大家，这个财神爷你要好好把握住。这个黄仁勋是台湾的。
而且有个说法是说，为什么他这么喜欢去逛临江夜市？搞了半天，他爸妈住在临江夜市附近，
应该是在那个附近。我们不能够很笃定，但是我见过他的儿子好几次了，所以我觉得他们住家应该在那个附近。当然，大家不要去打扰他们了。
好的，刚刚讲到，他现在在这个北四科是比我们想象的更重要的一个据点。
是，我只能想说，你看哦，在台湾，它能够有什么样的好处？你在韩国，你顶多大概就是它的记忆体很厉害，但是你在台湾。好，你可以除了包括记忆体之外，你全部夯不啷当，全部都可以在台湾搞定。然后你的 AI 伺服器整体的出货可以在台北，所以我只能说，目前为止，我只能说，听说看这个样子，它在发展下一步，大家去留意记忆体。下一步来记忆体哈，目前当然是 SK 海力士很厉害，它能够做得出 HBM， 美光也是嘛哈。但是接下来台湾还在这方面没有你想想看，它以后会长期受制于 SK 海力士跟三星吗？它只会受制于美光吗？它在台湾这个地方不会发展它的记忆体吗？我认为未来包括群联也好，包括南亚科，包括现在大家夯不啷当讲的力积电，搞不好未来 HBM 也有办法开出，因为你永远你不止1公，你还有2公。
非常谢谢您的留言，而您的留言我们都会来仔细的阅读。我们非常谢谢施娜77。你说谢谢我们的制作团队的精良内容，他小小心意，我们也感受到你的心意，我们也会努力的来制作您喜欢的一个内容。那我们也非常的感谢这个是 Bo Dream Came True Bo。然后呢，你说谢谢我的用心访问，你谢谢洪医师认真教学有关肾的健康这个知识。现在对于这种健康医疗是我们在网络的部分非常认真要耕耘的一块。我们当然希望台湾未来是一个强壮的国家，台湾未来也是一个伟大而这个健康的国家。另外，我们也感谢了这个 QB Jackie。那你说我们导正了台湾往正向的道路的无形力量，这就是我们努力的方向。因为我们相信说，走对方向，走正确的路，比什么都还重要。那我们也非常谢谢这个 Albert 王，他说你深有同感，从大中小去观看事情，希望能够找到不同的产业来说说他们的成长趋势。我们知道现在台湾的整个产业趋势是呈现一个大爆发的状况，现在连韩国都非常的紧张，所以未来我们也会多报道这种产业趋势，我们希望大家共同来成长。另外就是非常谢谢林立清 D2S， 他说你现在看到了伊隆马斯克的打不败神话，现在台积电的50公里的强大供应链，我们现在也会针对这些国际趋势，而且在整个国际变化的当中，台湾我们到底扮演什么样的一个角色？然后，那我们也看到了，另外就是这个 Lovely 这个您提到的，就是说感谢我们精辟的见解，把台湾的情势诠释得非常的清楚，这就是我们现在要努力的方向。因为台湾一直在往前走，台湾的往前走，我们要相信台湾。另外就是这个所谓的755里面，你特别就是感谢，我们也感受到您的这个对我们的肯定，我们真的非常谢谢。另外就是这个蓝静，您说谢谢我们制作优质的节目，他是一个退休人士，支持台湾，我们也希望整个台湾一起来进步。另外就是这个 Boy K。然后呢，你说谢谢我们提供这个内容，然后您说您是政大传院的学生，那我们也非常谢谢你喜欢我们的节目，我们也会非常努力的来感谢您对我们的一个喜爱。另外就是 Kenny KH4TC， 那你说很久没有看到宋老师了，那就宋国成宋老师，那你当然我们在两岸国际之间，我们也会多做这样的一个报道，甚至就是这个 Helen Pan。然后呢，你说谢谢明老师，明老师是我们非常重要的访问的来宾，未来他也会定期来上我们的节目。非常感谢你们这个喜欢我们也会非常认真，我们非常感谢，因为这么多人喜欢我，对我们来讲那是一种责任，那也是一种我们需要的这种所谓的使命，我们会好好的把这些工作做好，谢谢。如果你喜欢今天的内容，欢迎你抖内相挺，用一杯咖啡、一杯好茶的心意支持 持团队制作更好的精彩内容，而你的超级留言，我都会认真看的。
57台每晚9点，宝洁点兵点出全球战略新布局。